episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built with and for entrepreneurs. We cover many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. We feature the podcast shows such as Sports Bring People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset. Learn more at castsource.com/podcast. And without further ado, let's get into the Buffalonian Podcast. The Buffalo Bills are waiting the 76 days until the NFL draft. And the Sabres finally play a game this upcoming Saturday after the All-Star break. With some Would You Rather, hot takes, trivia, and more, this is the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Callie, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. And fellas, the Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. The Pro Bowl's over. NHL All-Star weekend is over. And the NFL awards happened last night. I mean, how are we feeling? I know the Bills, we're in our offseason now. We're waiting the 76 days till the draft to see some exciting, news come about. But how are we feeling? What are we thinking?
Kind of stunned that the NFL season is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just the NFL season is longer than it used to be. Starting from last year, so I'm not going to complain. But it is always kind of weird. Last week getting this day 5 years ago because the Super Bowl used to be played last weekend and things like that. But now it's a new tradition. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Nick Foles post, this day 5 years ago. It was the Philly special when he won. And I don't know, it's interesting. I like the longer season, but at the same time, I wish it was like 40 games, but then players wouldn't be able to do that.
40 games, NFL seasons, oh my God.
Yeah, so players wouldn't be able to do that. So I don't know. But yeah, season's over, almost. I mean, we're going to do our Super Bowl little pregame special on Sunday. We're gonna have out there for everyone, but let's roll right into at least what the Bills have going on. We have a new hire on the defense, Al Holcomb. He's a familiar face for Shawnee, for McD. He's been there for he's in Carolina with him from 2013 to 2016. So, I mean, what are your general thoughts on this hire? I think it's, everyone's talking about hiring offensive things, and he hired a defensive thing that he's comfortable with, but people are iffy about it. Some people like it, some people don't. What are you guys thinking about it?
I mean, to me, like, he served as the interim DC last year when they fired Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're kind of trying to maybe like show Leslie, like, hey, like, we're gonna get you some help, like, because he's gonna be the assistant defensive coordinator essentially.
Defensive assistant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe this is kind of like a sign to Frazier that he'll be back next year. But if they don't see improvement, or like something this isn't right with the defense, like, they can make a switch with a guy who's in-house and like learning these guys and knowing the culture and everything and be comfortable with it. Because I mean, when Carolina made their change, like, they were playing well. Like, once they got rid of Matt Rule, like, they were playing well for how bad that division is. Like, you gotta give them credit for doing what they could do with that kind of team. But I think it's just kind of like, I don't want to say like an insurance policy, but like, I think it's something to where if they get rid of Leslie Frazier, he's gonna probably step in and become the new DC. Plus, he has that history with McDermott, so I think it's just kind of building comfort within the organization for now.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways to look at this, to be honest. A lot of people who are McDermott critics will look at this and say that they hired a yes man, a guy that he's familiar with, a guy.
I've seen that on Twitter quite a bit, specifically.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of the opposite route of this guy came from the Steve Wilkes system, which is a very blitz heavy, not a lot of two shell kind of sit back system. It's a very blitz heavy system, attacking aggressive system. So I think it adds a new perspective in the organization with that type of defense. Also, I do think it's important to hire people that you have experience with and know what kind of person they are. So I don't think from the perspective of, oh my God, I hired another Carolina person from his, era there. That's a yes man. I wouldn't consider that to be a yes man. I would just consider that to be he knows the guy, he trusts the guy. Obviously he wants him on the staff, and also, I believe he's a defensive. They hired him for to be a defensive like assistant, so he doesn't have like an official title, but saw this with the safety coach as well. With the maybe looking to add new wrinkles to covering up the people reading the slot corner, I think, and develop, and he has a track record of developing safeties. I think Holcomb, he has a track record of developing linebackers, and I think maybe, I don't know if this is a sign that Tremaine's gone, or maybe they think they're going to resign him. They could even take Tremaine to another level, but I also think this is a future move of getting another guy in the room that has a known track record of developing linebackers, especially potentially if you lose an important piece in that position room as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like you said, I don't really view it as a yes man scenario. It's
also people thought it was a yes man scenario. Even yours truly, Kevin Adams,
right? And that dude's cooking right now. I mean, we'll get to that, but it's just it's a good hire in my opinion. He's comfortable with him, like you said, Dom. They know him. He's got a track record for developing linebackers, and Tremaine like developing even more would kind of be nice if we keep him around. We gotta sign him first. But Matt Milano back there, and that would be cool to see and see some improvement on an already improved season from this past season. And just maybe play something other than nickel zone. Maybe he's got a little whisper in the ear, Frazier. You know what I mean? Change it up a little bit. But I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. And then,
I mean, they have an important. I mean, they just drafted Terrell Bernard in the 3rd round last year.
Yeah,
I feel like that pick has to, starting next season, have to show some weight on actual defense, not just special teams. So I think maybe it's kind of that move as well. I mean, we saw maybe with potentially Benford moving to safety. So I feel like these moves so far, well, I don't think they're flashy or necessarily like the sexy move of like getting rid of Frazier. I do think adding different perspectives to the defense and how to maybe fix some of your problems while also creating new problems for the offenses you face should be a good add to the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what'd you say?
I said good wrinkles to the defense.
Yeah.
And also with Vaughn saying that he's going to be back for week 1, you never know about that. But, hopefully, if you get Micah back and Vaughn back in the season, if other people may be taking a jump, I think this defense could still be solid. I feel like this defense is going to go back to like the 2020 defense, which was like really pretty much average, but they got a lot of takeaways.
Yeah,
I feel like that. Like I think they ended up finishing 9th in total yards, but that was because they won. After the Hail Mary, they went on a huge run at the end of the year. They were really like around 15, 16, but they always seemed to like Seattle. They gave up like 34 points, but they like had 4 turnovers. Like it was that kind of defense, and maybe with the talent leaving the system, maybe they're starting to think, hey, we got to start like being like okay, giving up 400 yards, but causing more turnovers. I mean, this is also the team that didn't have had a very long stretch of the season without getting an interception. So,
yeah, I mean, I would be okay with that. I'm a big guy for takeaways.
High event. I mean, we already have the Sabres who are pretty high event.
Yeah, I mean, it's just both of them are going to be high event. Buffalo high event teams. You got to love it. I mean, couldn't ask for anything better. But yeah, I think it's a good hire at the end of the day, and we'll definitely see some good changes. I think the whole yes man thing will die off in like a month. I feel like when people just calm down, the Twitter warriors go back in their caves for a little bit, and that'll be that. But just one thing before we move into the Pro Bowl and such, just that article Jessica Pegula published about her mom and giving an update was extremely, extremely well written. Like that was like, I was like, holy cow, that was amazing. But it's nice to hear an update on Kim and know that she has been taking steps towards as much of a recovery as she can make, and actually understand what happened. Because I remember we talked about it when she had her health scare and went back to be treated in Florida, I think, or wherever they were. But we had no idea what happened to her. I remember we mentioned it a couple times, and in the first episode of the betting on the Bills, or second one, when after the Rams game, we only saw Terry there, and the TV broadcasters were talking about it too. We chatted about it, but
yeah,
our prayers are going out to Kim Pegula for more and more recovery as time goes on, and because let's just be honest, let's say it how it is. Terry was not the brains behind this operation. It was Kim. So Terry's the money bags. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's definitely a very sad situation. Glad she's doing all right. Again, shows the power of CPR. How everyone should get certified. Yeah, it's interesting what's going to happen to, I guess, the future of the sports teams, because she was so involved and so important. I know they kind of already replaced her a little. I don't want to say replaced, but they filled her role with the Sabres a little bit with their new hire recently in the organization. So it's going to be interesting how. I mean, she has such big shoes. It's going to be interesting how, and for both teams, how they're going to, fill them.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's just really like something you never expect to happen, and then you see with DeMar Hamlin, the same thing happening to him. Like it just really probably hit home that much more for these players and everything. But it's good that she's progressing, but it's still just terrible to think that like things happen that you never expect to happen like that, and how in an instant your entire life can change. And just gotta take for granted how lucky we are right now. And then I know, like you're saying, like who's gonna fill the role. I think the daughter said like when she's done playing tennis, she'd want to maybe move into like what her mom was doing. So like I think that's kind of looking at that encouraging for the future.
Keep it in the family.
Long term, like being here in Buffalo too.
Mm-hmm.
So just to get something out of it, obviously we want her to get better and everything, but it's just a really unfortunate situation that we had two prominent Buffalo sports figures have cardiac arrest in like a 6-month span, essentially.
Yeah. No, I mean, just again, wishing as much of a recovery as possible with that kind of an injury, in kind of a situation. But one of those players who suffered cardiac arrest will be playing football again. Supposedly, he says. I mean, that would be.
He looked really good at the.
He did
the ceremony when he got his award. So that's really encouraging.
That was cool. They had the medical staff from Cincy and Buffalo, along with the people from the hospital, the doctors and nurses as well. That was really cool.
Yep. I mean, that was a pretty tough moment for all those people that thought he was dead, and there was a double at the Patriots game.
Yeah. The body double that was all covered up in a mask. I mean,
the conspiracy theory
clone. Yeah, the clone. Did you see on Kyle Brandt's basement? Josh Allen, he brought that up. Josh looked visibly like upset, like kind of angry that people were thinking that. He was just kind of like, that's stupid.
There's really dumb conspiracy theories out there.
Yeah, he's like, that's stupid. Like just straight up. He's like, anyone who thinks that's just stupid. But let's move into the Pro Bowl. And my big question to you guys is, did you watch it, first of all? And did you enjoy it? Because I watched it and I enjoyed it more than any other Pro Bowl I've watched. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The flag football, they finally admitted who they were at their core. They weren't touching each other, so you might as well. No helmets.
Jalen Ramsey was pretty aggressive.
As always, he's got to have.
I do have to say, in somewhat of his defense, I have to say this: dude was. I mean, Mike knows this from playing flag football and hitting people on the sideline, but
that was so what you did, Mike. That's not even funny.
I was thinking the same thing.
But I hated to be the guy to defend Jalen Ramsey, but my man was running full speed and was literally going for the flag on some other person, and then the guy let it to Tyreek Hill, and there was no way he was going to stop. So
Yeah, I just love
I'm not
Tyreek.
saying he put the little shoulder down. Like I think that was intentional, but like the speed of the contact, there was very little he could do.
Dude, Tyreek got a pretty nasty turf burn from that, though. I mean, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen for Ramsey at that point. But
Bro, Jalen Ramsey, he must have got the game film from our Thanksgiving game.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, even the competitions, we were playing dodgeball at one point. Like it was they. I don't know how to put it. They took it seriously, right? But it was more laxed. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
I think they did a good job this year of people. I mean, it's hard in football to go full stop. Like 2 minutes left in the Pro Bowl, like you really gonna be the guy that hits the slot receiver over the middle of the field?
well, yeah.
No.
I mean,
But like in flag football, like I'm not saying they hit. Obviously, you're not gonna hit anyone, but like you could like go a little hard, like. And I think we saw that. I think also the Manning brothers, while some people might find them to be kind of like annoying, like I think they're kind of funny. And I think
I like
they
them.
added like I know in years past in the Pro Bowl it was like Team Rice and Team Irwin. I want to say like at one point where they did like player drafts, and that was just like those guys just weren't big. I'm not saying they weren't big enough figures, but like I don't think anyone was really. They didn't have like the personality to kind of carry the event. I think the Manning brothers did like a good job of like. I mean, you saw Eli; he wasn't even paying. I mean, the halftime show was the worst part of the Pro Bowl, but like,
what was that? Like, can we just be honest for a second? Like, what was that? Who thought that was a good idea? Two dudes just yelling up there for 30 minutes. I don't get it. The music also was awful, but it was just like whatever.
It let me time to get gas, so I was pretty happy about it.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. From what I watched from the Pro Bowl, like it was entertaining. Like I don't know. I guess there's a little bit. I would say it was better than watching a game in their full pads and them just like playing 2-hand touch. I will say that it was better than that. But I'm still a huge fan of like them actually playing the game like when they did years ago. Like
I mean,
I know that'll never happen. They'll never come back. The players don't want that. And like I understand it because you just played a long season and why risk injury? Like Myles Garrett, like he broke his toe or sprained his toe or something.
Popped his toe. I mean,
yeah.
Patrick has something. I mean, he's dislocated his toe for us. We should have got him on to.
Oh my God.
We are medical expert. But
Mike can't handle it.
You want me to take over for a second?
I don't know. The one thing I'm trying to think. There was a Bills quarterback, number 8. Mike's got to take a second to
think No, it wasn't a Bills quarterback. I think you're talking about Brian Mormon that got lit up in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
That was a fake punt. He was the punter.
Yes.
He got lit up by Sean Taylor.
Yeah, like that. That's what people want to come back, but I'm like, these guys just played it. Now
Brian Mormon.
Yeah, Brian Mormon. Yeah, is that what you want to come back, Mike? You want Brian Mormon to come back?
That Sean Taylor laying up Brian Mormon is so funny. Because the dude's just in the Pro Bowl running and then just bam, get hit by one of like the top safeties at the time. So like
yeah,
damn.
I would say like I would agree with Mike. Like I think it'd be better if they play an actual game. I think some people are suggesting that they should play and scratch the Pro Bowl and play like the toilet bowl game of like winner gets the number 1 pick between the 2 worst teams. I think that's an interesting idea. I have to say that like I enjoyed the Pro Bowl for the first time in a very long time. Mm-hmm. I also think I think with the flag football they understood to like we get to see these players interact more and we get to see their faces.
That was cool.
And I think that's important because like I watched the NHL All-Star game and I had to say I was pretty disappointed in it. And I think one of the big reasons why I think the NFL like gets more attention, especially like in their All-Star games, even in previous years, I would say the NHL was better, is because if you interview an NHL player like Connor McDavid, like you ask him something and he's just gonna give you like a generic response. Like, and it's like, okay, that's kind of like, I mean, it's what I expected, but it's not very interesting. Like, if you interview an NFL player, God, they could talk about like all kinds of things. Like Cam Jordan just like openly trashed the Bucks, like openly trashed the Bucks because talking about how they're going to return to form after Tom Brady retired.
Yeah.
I don't like. I feel like in the NHL, it's kind of like no one's going to be like, yeah, man, screw that team. Like,
Yeah. It's
they're
like
gonna be
Derek Carr.
trash now.
It's probably why I'm not coming back here next year while he's laughing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you don't get that.
Yeah. Derek Carr just openly been like, yeah, man, I'm out.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have to also rip Derek Carr, man. He was pretty brutal. I think. Listen, looking at what was going on in the Pro Bowl, like
Peyton Manning might have benched him. He was thinking about it. I feel like
he was not like he. I think the AFC very quickly, like Tyler Huntley, man. Like, should he have been a Pro Bowler? No, but man, like he was the ideal candidate for a Pro Bowl, being mobile and all that.
Yeah,
like, heck, we gotta start, adapting some of those rules for our game.
How do you think the game ended? I mean, Peyton Manning was screaming because he took a knee within the 5-yard line or something, and you can't do that. And he was like freaking out, running onto the field. Do you think the AFC deserved another shot to stop it, or what happened? You think? I'm not a flag football rule connoisseur.
I mean, that's like a dude finishing Uno and then someone realizing he didn't say Uno, but he already put his last card down. Yeah. Like it was just a kind of caveat. Like, yeah,
it's just because it was his brother.
That's also true.
Yeah.
But also, like, Payne does care about, like, I think he got on the McAfee show and been like, we got to start attracting, like, the big NFL players to start playing back. I think he was talking about, like, the AFC, like, Allen.
Our quarterback went to Pebble
Herbert
Beach,
actually had, like, major shoulder surgery, apparently. So, like, he's good. Burrow, like, they didn't have those two guys. I feel like if they had those two guys, it would have been a better show. But, yeah, I mean, it was one of those situations where it's like, yeah, if you read the, like, letter of the law, yeah, what they did was technically, like, can't happen. But, like, at the same time, like, it's over. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, Roger Goodell said that's where the Pro Bowl is staying, flag football. So
I thought it was interesting, especially like how like the NFC started using Turpin from Dallas and the AFC started using Tyreek as like the blitzer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. We may have to start doing that in our own Pro Bowl, in our own flag football game of just having, big
the Buffalonian Bowl
blitz.
Yeah.
Hey man, I said that like during the game. And then I was like playing like corner, and they never threw that way. So
okay. Because in our game we did 5 Mississippi or whatever, and at that point, and that's how we got to do the pass rush thing, because that actually made some sense.
Yeah, no, we could definitely watch some film and figure it out from there.
Yeah,
but
also I think a bigger question has to be asked. Buffalonian Combine. You called out Matt Hawk last year. Are you gonna call out Stephon Diggs for? I mean, he obviously. I'm really upset. I think ESPN missed a golden opportunity to interview him like directly after and be like, "Hey, like, what coverage did you see on the interception? Like, did you not expect him to drop off?" Because all he needed to do was lob it over his brother, and he had Trevor Lawrence for a touchdown.
He did. He threw a bullet pass.
I know you pressed the wrong Madden button.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he could out-throw Diggs now? Is that your? I mean, he does warm up before the game.
And then the best catch competition.
Did he catch it the second one where he jumped through the cheerleaders in the smoke? Did he catch both of them the first time? Because then Pete Davidson only gave him a 69 and started winking at the camera. So I was like, this is I was like, I don't know what happened.
The first one was definitely his best attempt. I think I'd have to look. I thought the ball might have like touched the ground, but I also think he might have been able to keep it like above it just slightly, but it wasn't clean, I guess.
Can we just acknowledge how bad the trampolines were?
They weren't getting any
air. They
were
getting like maybe like 2 inches.
I think Adam Schefter got the most air actually.
Like,
pre-game.
Dude, they should have gotten some trampolines where they can get like a foot in the air and do like a flip and then catch. Like, that would have been so cool.
Yeah,
RG3 did though.
Then they land and bust their ankle.
Bro, they're landing on pads. They're fine.
If you watch though the pregame,
I do the same thing at Sky Zone.
They might land on their side and bust their side. Like,
dude, you do the same thing at Sky Zone. You're okay.
If you watch the pregame, RG3 was the only one who was able to do it. Like, get up and get the air. He spun around and caught a ball and like tweaked in.
Dude, if RG3 can do it with his bum knee, like, come on.
Mm-hmm. And in a suit.
Yeah, and in a suit. Like, that's really impressive.
Did you see Adam Schefter try it? Did you see that? His little waddle up to the trampoline and then he gets like a foot off the air.
Anytime Adam Schefter tries to do anything physical, it's just hysterical.
I think we might have to get that clip for next time.
Because it's just unathletic.
Yeah, it's gold. But I mean, maybe the combine. Maybe I try and out-throw Diggs.
Adam Schefter is definitely the guy that's like, if aliens came to the planet, they wanted to see if you actually played football on the ESPN thing, and they made you do one athletic test, they would be able to pick out the guy that didn't play football.
Yeah.
Or they'd have like Woj do like basketball stuff.
Yeah, shoot threes.
Or like,
Mhm.
Bob McKenzie do hockey thing. Like, I'm sorry, but all these insiders, like, I don't think they could actually like play their sport.
No,
No.
Jeff
I mean,
Passan playing baseball.
yeah.
that's
I don't know.
that's very accurate. Very,
But yeah,
very
the
accurate.
combine is possible. I'll work up a statement about it in the coming weeks as we get closer to summer. No bum Achilles this time around, so we'll get it off the ground and running this summer. But
Let's
maybe a
go.
Joe versus Diggs throw. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
Come on out.
I mean, could happen. Could happen. That could be interesting. But
I mean, it was at least nice to see that like it seemed like all the Bills had a moment. I know it's weird with like the offensive and defensive linemen because like only the center and maybe like one or two edge rushers played in the
mhm.
game.
Mhm.
Obviously Morris is one of the centers, so he played a lot.
Did you see
I mean,
Dion's interview? He
you
was
saw the
huffing.
snowman with Cam Hayward after
Yeah.
their thing, their win.
He's like it's a copycat league. He was like yelling all this stuff into the mic. I was like, what is he saying? I was like, he was just screaming. It was so funny. It was
Yeah,
hysterical.
I did say, well, Knox made the biggest play of the game for the AFC, catching that 4th down tud.
Yeah.
I have to say, all these Jags fans that after the 4th and like 20-yard bomb from Lawrence to Diggs are like future teammates with the winking and the wide eye. I was like, please
How about no? How about absolutely
enjoy
not?
Kelvin the gambler Ridley.
Yeah.
Dude, I completely forgot they had Calvin Ridley. Like, that's actually pretty good. Like, he's the
Dude,
number
he
one
was-
I'm not
receiver.
saying
I'm just
he's
saying
not
he is a
bad.
number one receiver. Like,
He's like, yeah,
he'll
on that
gamble.
team,
He's gonna gamble
he's
again.
like I don't know. I always considered him like a 1-2. Like he's kind of like T Higgins a little bit. Like he's a really
it helped
great
when he had
two.
Julio, like, for sure.
He also was good when Julio was also banged up a lot. So
That was
Yep.
after Julio's prime.
and he
but
also had noodle arm Matt Ryan throwing him the ball.
noodle arm.
Yeah. Yeah. Noodle arm Matt
Noodles.
Ryan. Who now should be an analyst. I actually didn't mind him on the broadcast. He actually takes Diggs pretty well. Someone said something about 28-3 and he just kind of ate it. But speaking of Knox
Iced.
making that fantastic catch and a wide receiver, is Dawson Knox our pass catcher number 2 going into next season? All right. Listen, we're paying him top tight end money in the NFL. I'm going to be honest with you. Why are we not? I get it. Our offensive line sucked, so we had to use him to block. But I think we got to use him to catch more. Maybe not number 2. Maybe not number 2. But
he
he
definitely
should
needs
be
more than like 40 catches a year. But like,
exactly. Yeah.
you look at some of these like these top teams, like when they're tight ends, how they're just like mismatch nightmares. Now I know like Knox isn't like this athletic freak like Kelsey or like Gronkowski was, but like
He's
you
like
know,
a tier
it's
below that though.
He
yeah,
likes
it's-
trucking
he's-
guys. He can get yards.
yeah,
after
he's still
catch.
going to be a mismatch because if you throw him on a linebacker, he should be faster than a linebacker, and then he's going to hopefully be able to outmuscle like a corner, like a inside corner. Like, you know, I don't see why you can't experiment throwing him in the slot. It's like just see what he can do. And like if you, like you said, Joe, we're paying him all this money and we didn't even use him that much. So like,
Yeah.
what was the point of paying him if you're not going to use him?
Right. And now we're coming up on where the cap's thin, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we're paying a lot of money and not even utilizing him. So to me, it's a waste at this point. We got to use him more. What do you think, Dom?
I think it's an interesting conversation. I think it's an interesting conversation of do the Bills need to add like another really legit wide receiver, or do they just need like a complementary piece?
Mhm.
And like, I mean, you can answer it both ways. Like, yeah, I think they do need to add like a bigger piece. Like that's why I'm starting to lean more towards offensive lineman first round, but I wouldn't be opposed if somehow Jordan Addison from USC or Jackson Smith-Jigba from Ohio State were there. Like I think you would take them and then you upgrade your slot. I think that's like where they need the most help, like to add another slot receiver. So I don't know if they needed like
Beasley
like
wants to
D-Hop.
return.
Like I don't like D-Hop and all that. Like it's more like Hunter Run for like you just need another like guy, but I think it just comes down to I feel like Davis was not in the role he needed to be.
And
Like, I don't
Shakir
think
was
he was
nowhere to be seen either.
I don't think he was as bad as some of the like catch rates go. I also don't think he was as good as someone like some people use like, oh, he had 800 yards. But like I know like it's kind of fitting the narrative to say Oh, but he had like 3 games where he had like 100+ yards or
He had
whatever.
a 98-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I think yeah, that fits the narrative a little bit, but also like you can't let him at the same time flip that like his catch rate isn't as bad as it is. Like I think it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe if you like he had 100 targets, like if you somehow take 30 of his targets away, spread and take out Mackenzie's targets, like because you're gonna cut him hopefully, and like give that maybe a little more to Dawson Knox, a little bit more to Khalil Shakur, a little bit more to the running field, the backfield. Like I feel like they have the pieces outside of Diggs, where if they're utilized better, they're gonna get better production. Where they don't
Mm-hmm.
maybe just need to add like a Paris Campbell or maybe a DJ Chark, maybe a lower kind of wide receiver to just kind of add to the offense and focus more on the line.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had Emmanuel Sanders the previous season, and you know what I mean. Like that was
Yeah, like
a
it's just
good
kind of like
balance.
maybe another vet. I mean, Dawson Knox, like if you look at like the separation stats, is one of the leaders on the team like every year in yard. Like I think he averaged like 4 yards of separation. I know some of that could be like, I mean, the Jets touchdown that he had was a sick play, but like he was like open for 10 yards, so it's not everything. But like we saw it. I know the Pro Bowl is kind of cheeky, but like we saw it kind of with that route on Fred Warner. He kind of did like a similar, maybe a little bit longer route against the Dolphins. He did it against the Chiefs in the red zone. Like he can get open. He's shown the ability to get open against safeties in man coverage in the red zone. So I feel like they need to utilize him a little bit more down there as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And save the blocking. Unfortunately, Tommy Sweeney probably will no longer be on this team, but Quentin Morris also can catch. We've seen that. He's caught touchdowns, you know. He's a good blocking tight end. Like use these tight ends. That's a huge aspect to the game. I mean, I think honestly, right now, I know this is a little bit off topic, but we're in that point where our quarterback's getting that big money, right? And we're getting big contracts, so our cap's getting thin. The Chiefs are in that same position. Mahomes' contract hit before Allen's did, and look at where they are now. They're at a Super Bowl. Andy Reid drafted and worked that out in that team. That's an example of what the Bills kind of need to, look into doing, I think, because where they are now, you would never know that they, had that big cap hit with Mahomes, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's also a situation where yeah, the Chiefs look great now, but I mean, if you look at their 2018, 2019, 2020 drafts, like those are 3 back-to-back really I mean, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. Like those are
Mhm.
3 incredibly mediocre drafts. And then
Yeah.
the last 2 drafts, they drafted Nick Bolton, who's a stud, Creed Humphrey, who's a stud. They drafted Trent McDuffie, who looks very good, Kalafdis, who looks pretty solid as well, Trey Smith, who's a very good guard. Like you look at their last 2 drafts, and they've drafted like multiple blue chippers plus multiple starters, like
Mhm.
high end starters in the last 2 years. So I think it gives hope where yeah, the Bills the last couple years haven't had great drafts, but I think there's hope at the end of the tunnel where if they could just hit on one this draft and the next draft, yeah, I mean it shows the importance of hitting on your draft picks when you're up against the cap as much as the
Yeah.
Bills are now, and you saw it with the Chiefs, as you alluded
Yeah.
to.
I know, I think Dom said this either last pod or like 2 ago, but like how Bean, his drafting is like, it's all right. Like, we get a lot of like role players, I would say. Like, he's able to get like those mid round, late round picks to contribute, but like mainly on like special teams or like his backups. And like, we
Mhm.
haven't had like that main elite player. Like, I think, you would expect Rousseau to hopefully like kind of break out and be a stud edge rusher. And like, I think once Vaughn was gone, you kind of saw him disappear in a sense. And like, you got to think he's been working with Vaughn all year. So like, how was it that like when he was gone, like he just didn't really step up and get the pressure that we needed? And you see like Kyer like hoping that he can kind of break out. Like we have these guys that like potentially could be these stars, but at the end of the day, like a lot of our picks, like Kansas City hit on like all their mid round picks and everything, and like those are really valuable contracts to have. So like if Bean can do that, like that's just huge for this team being so cap strapped.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't know. It's shall be interesting, as I always say. I mean, we're in the thick of it now, where things are going to get interesting fast come draft day, free agency, like what we do in that. So it's all gonna I hope it comes together. I hope, honestly, I know we're not talking Super Bowl. I hope the Eagles win because there's someone who's been predicting the Super Bowls since like 2015, and they've gotten them all right. And they have the Eagles this year and Bills next year. If they get the Eagles this year, that's just more light at the end of the tunnel, man. I'm going
dude,
for it.
releasing that was, I think, the worst thing you could have possibly done. I think it's like a huge jinx.
Yeah, you think?
It's like
Yeah.
that person that consistently showed that we're getting the Jets season right,
Yep.
and then they like went on a huge L streak because I think they had them going like 11-6, like that whole
Making the
stretch.
AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So no, dude, it just figures they release it right before he picks the Bills to win. So
Yeah.
could have waited a few years, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on par with
2025.
Buffalo luck. Yeah,
But maybe, I don't know.
we shall see. Now the awards. I don't remember what everyone's prediction was. Dom, last night you were calling out your predictions that hit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember mine.
I just know that I got the MVP right because I definitely remember picking Mahomes, and I picked Jefferson for Offensive Player of the Year. So I think I
don't
picked
remember
Myles
mine.
Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year, which wasn't a bad.
I remember. I think I picked Aaron Donald for Defensive Player of the Year. I think I picked Herbert for MVP.
I want to say MVP. I threw Allen in there.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he finished third. He got a first place vote. Nick Wright was mad about that.
Oh, of course he was. Crybaby. You're from Syracuse. Shut up. Like, that's all I have to say. Bandwagon Chiefs fan. Mahomes is your baby. Oh my god.
He is from Kansas City.
He went to school in Syracuse.
Yeah, but I can't believe I'm defending Nick Wright today. I'm defending. God, this is
Defending Calvin
day.
Ridley. You're defending everyone.
But yeah, it was an interesting award. I think it's interesting that McDermott had the third most first place votes, but ended up finishing fourth overall in the Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Oh, congrats to Brian Dable. I'd love to see him win Coach of the Year. That was awesome. His speech was really blunt. Did you see that? He didn't say anything. He's like, he thanked everyone and just said,
all I'm saying, this
off.
just proved that the voters got the 2017 Coach of the Year wrong. Who would have been Sean McDermott?
Oh yeah,
it was not Sean McDermott. I think it might have been Doug Peterson.
I think it was because when they won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was always very silly to me that McDermott didn't win.
I mean, he got to the playoffs with someone else's team at that point.
That 17 team was really bad.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor,
negative point differential.
Nate Peterman.
Yeah,
that team was so bad. Like, you know what it is? It's because they trashed him for benching Tyrod for Peterman, and then he threw 5 picks.
Yeah,
that was totally.
That will live in infamy. I can't believe that. Like,
all the McDermott haters though can't be too happy that he got respected around the league with a couple picks.
I mean, honestly, would I have? No. But that's because we hyperanalyze the Bills. But also at the same time, I think the whole trust the process thing over the years, I think he is somewhat deserving of it for sure. The way he turned the team and the culture around, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
I think the hard thing for McDermott now is like when you have an elite quarterback, it's hard to win the award, and it's also hard to like if you don't go this. Like I actually don't know when voting ends, but it's, listen. There's no doubt he should have been a candidate because the Bills went through a lot off the field, even on the field, with the whole Hamlin situation. And so there's been a lot of positives for McDermott, but the one negative is the playoffs, and that's kind of like the one like fact you don't want to be a negative. Like it kind of outweighs a little bit most of the positive, but
yeah, maybe in years to come, hopefully we see the Bills progress through and win some awards. I mean, DeMar Hamlin's award was cool, but
Denny Kellington, got voted 5th place in the MVP. That's one more vote than Russell Wilson's career ever. Yeah. Nice to see Josh get another first place MVP vote. That's the second year he's had a first place MVP vote. I know
he was behind Rodgers one year.
And 20, I think it was like he had 5. I want to say I think it was like 45 for Rodgers or something like that, and he had 5.
Yeah,
or it was like Rodgers had like 40 plus, but Allen had like 5. So
yeah, he's getting some recognition, I guess you could say.
I think it was interesting that he was ahead of. I'm not saying like it wasn't deservedly ahead of Burrow, but I do think that was kind of interesting. I think we saw that with the NFLPA poll of him being ahead of Burrow. I think that's.
I think you got to see more games between them to really.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And then Hurts being ahead of him. I guess. I mean, like, I feel like best player on the best team. Well, yeah, they had the best record, right? Third, yeah, fourth, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. I mean, to me, I feel like Hurts. If I was doing the voting, it would have been Mahomes and Allen, personally. But I'm also a little bit biased. But
I mean,
Hurts would have
those
been
two
three for me.
are the standouts, I guess. Yeah. But I think that's going to do it for our Bills talk for the day, fellas. And we're coming at you with a Super Bowl pregame. When we read the script for the Super Bowl, we'll make our predictions, and before I expose the script, we got to move on. We got to talk Sabres, but before we do, I want to bring up the Sports Bring People Together podcast. You should listen for entrepreneurial conversations with those in sports, and who knows where the chats will take you. But sports got us all here together in the first place. Find this show wherever you listen to your podcast, or simply visit sportseplus.com. We're back with the Buffalonian podcast with our Sabres talk. And Dylan Cousins has been extended, fellas.
Yeah.
It's about time. We've been talking about it for what, a couple weeks now, right? The possibility of it.
Couple months. Well,
Yeah.
a couple weeks start heating up, but
Yeah. I mean,
No,
comparable to Tages, right? I mean,
I think it's really
Tage-
encouraging that you have your top two centers locked up for combined like $14 million.
Yeah.
When in all reality, Tage should probably be making like 11 plus. And like I thought Cousins was going to take like around 8. So
I also thought that as well. I do wonder if they got the 8th out of him. I wonder if it would have been 8x8. But I mean, they combined $14.2 million and a cap that's like conservative $83 million, but it should shoot up like for the next 7 years. That's a complete. I mean, listen,
that's a win.
This year they're making a combined 2.3. I know it's a big jump from that to now 14, but it could have been higher. And if you looking at all the other kind of top center duos, I mean, Tavares and Matthews make like 22. McDavid and Draisaitl make a lot. I obviously like they're not on that level, but there's a reason why you have to get ahead of those contracts. Botterill is not one of those guys that would do that, other than the Jack Eichel contract. But just think of that, like Jack Eichel's contract was 8x10, and I think they had O'Reilly signed for 7.5. So at that time, like with that cap, $17.5 million were in your top two centers, and now 5 years later, your top two centers are making $3 million less dollars.
It's arguably better.
It's just better. Yeah. It's just a better way to build your roster, especially because Power's probably going to get. I mean, we can talk about their contracts in a second. Power's probably going to get a bag. The one mistake that Kevin Adams has really made contract rise is bridging Dahlin, which I hesitate to say mistake because at the time that made sense, but I guess maybe he should have probably realized that he was getting Krugered and that was the reason why he was struggling. But he's gonna have to pay for that one. That's probably gonna be at least in the 10 range. But I mean, he's on pace for 72 points, a huge jump from 38 points last year. And I think the big thing for Cousins is, one, he's still really young. So I feel like he's 6'3", and I feel like he can gain. I think he talked about it too. Like he could gain probably like another 10, 15 pounds of muscle too. And like he's been so much better on the puck this year, but even at times it felt like people complain about him losing it. Like think about him 10 pounds bigger. He's going to be so much better. And he's also I think some of his defensive numbers aren't great, but he's also anchoring two rookie wingers. Like think of him with like in the future with like a 5-year veteran Jack Quinn, 5-year veteran JJ.
No, and I think the biggest takeaway here is the social media games on point. Him and Tage lounging in the tropical climate, just looking like absolute dudes, just sitting there. So, no, that I love that they actually Kevin Adams went ahead and did it. There's a picture of him smoking a cigar, and everyone's captioning it and just saying "Let it cook, let him cook." You know what I mean? It's pretty much gold. I die laughing every time I see it, but it's promising to see that they're investing in the future of this team, especially like you said, the two top centers are locked down for a very long time to build around and build this team around. So, speaking of the top two centers,
well, I mean, also just to cut you off real quickly, like also from the fact of this is another situation where we saw of Samuelson, they paid him 54 games into his NHL career, and we saw it with Tage really paying him off 1 year of production. They're really paying Cousins off 50 games of production. Again, I'm not saying that's bad, but like I think it shows that I guess it'll be interesting with other like young players what happens, but I think it shows that like when Kevin Adams knows he knows, and like he's
Mhm.
gonna sign you, he's gonna try and get that long-term discount. So I think that's like the most interesting part from my perspective. Also, like how long were we like praying for them to get a second line center? Like
Extremely long.
literally the whole Jack Eichel after Ryan O'Reilly were like they don't have a second line. Like it was Marcus Johansson, then it was.
Oh, we got breaking news, fellas. We got breaking news. Casey Middlestat signed $5 million for 10 years.
That's not
I
funny.
hate you. I hate you so much. My heart.
I thought you were being
my heart-
legit, and then I hear Casey Middlestat. I'm just like, dude, no, that's not.
I thought he got traded. I was like, oh my god, am I about to like get my life? And then you said signed, and then you said 5 years. And I was like, man, that kind of like I don't know. And then you said 10 million. I was like, all right. If you
No, I
would've
said
five,
5 mil for 10 years.
Oh, I thought I heard
not
5
possible. Only 8.
Years.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
heck.
Well, I mean, again, like
Sorry,
I
threw it off, but had
no,
to
I think it's
prank.
fine. I just think it shows like they're willing to commit to people, like these kids. They're willing to give. They're not afraid to dole out like contracts. They're not. I think it's a new perspective. I think GMs are getting smarter in the fact that they're stop bridging their players. Like the teams that are like rebuilding, they understand like, hey, like if they go once they go to like that RFA where they can't get offer sheeted, like don't bridge them where they could get offer sheeted. Like we saw that with Aho in Carolina, and then they had to pay him. Like I'm not saying Aho's a good player, but like I don't think he's a $9.8 million player. Like I think he's more like an 8. Like they have to overpay for him now. But like if you sign your guy now to 7 years, you have him for 7 years. So
Right.
Yeah. No, I think you said it perfect. Like when Kevin Adams knows, he knows, and I think looking at it now, it's all going to work out. And he's big on building from within and developing and keeping these guys here long term. So you got to think as we move into like talking about like what they're going to do with Darlene, Power, Paterka, Quinn. You got to think Darlene will probably get 7-8 years. Probably like 10. Like maybe he'll take a little bit less in like 9, 8.5, 9. Like that'd be sweet, but he's deserving 10 plus. Power, I honestly feel like they'll just shell him a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Like just
He's deserving of it.
because and now I would say he's probably in a long-term deal getting like you might be overpaying him now like 6, 7, but like by the end of that contract, if he's a point per game defenseman, that'll be like such a bargain contract. And then I could see Paterka and Coyne getting shorter term deals.
I do think it's funny. I'm not saying I didn't love the tweet, but I did see that like I think their contracts are up. I don't even remember what year now. The 2034 like July 1st, and someone was like,
Oh,
July 1st, 2034 is going to be the next Briere Drury.
dude, that's my
debacle.
my birthday.
They're what, dude?
Because
7
Tage
years?
and
2030.
2030.
that's what it was. I thought 34.
7
I was
years,
like in my
yeah.
head.
But still, like, I don't know. Like, you got to think if that does happen, like July 1st, 2030, you'll have Tage without a contract, Dylan Cousins, Matthias Samuelsson, possibly Darlene, possibly Power. Like, you got
They won't have Darlene without a contract though, because he has 1 year left, and he would be off. But you're right. Like they have
like
three.
my point. Like you have all these core pieces now leaving on the same day. Like
That'd be kind of funny.
that'd be tough.
Dude,
like you gotta hope there's some success before that.
Yeah.
So like
I can't. That's my freaking birthday, man. That's gonna be I'll be turning 28 years old that day. That's horrifying to even think about that far in advance.
Worst birthday day ever. No.
Yeah.
Listen, they made the right move. They also, I think it was a very good contract from the saying of they got him under Tage's cap hit. I think we all thought potentially he was going to get 8, so it was going to be like a Malkin situation in Pittsburgh where the second best center gets a higher cap hit. And it's comparable to his draft mates. Obviously, Boldy got 7x7. Boldy maybe a little bit more. Has shown maybe for a longer period of time he's been a top 6 forward, but doesn't have that elite.
Yeah.
I don't think has that elite upside as Cousins. So I see, and they also got ahead of like the Caulfield extension, the Zegras extension.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
That's what we hate Bean. Like that's kind of like a Bean thing to do. Like what he did with Trey White. Like you got to kind of get ahead of your league comp, like the draft mates.
Okay, I'm gonna propose a question, but I just want to say something referring back to birthdays, sports moments on birthdays.
God.
We go back to 2016. Rex Ryan gets fired on my birthday.
God, you know what? You
That's a
gotta
good
love
one.
having like a birthday in December, a birthday in July, and then my birthday's just in the middle of May, and the Sabres haven't been relevant in
Dude, there was like
decades.
the
That's not like
remnants of a
Sabres
blizzard
hockey.
on my birthday.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it. You don't get
Listen,
blizzards on
mid-May,
your
man.
birthday.
Mid-May. Listen. In the next couple of years, like mid-May could be a good birthday. Sabres clinch a playoff series. Like,
Yeah.
You're talking
never
about
know.
they're gonna win the cup this season, man.
Well, that'd be in,
Anyway,
like mid-June, but
back to my question I was going to propose to you. Do you see, with all these extensions coming up, do you see these players maybe taking less to stay and like build a culture here and keep the culture rolling and try and win? Or do you think they'll get like their market value and like what do you think is their main focus here?
I definitely think it's a little bit of both. Like, I think at the end of the day, like players want to get paid what they feel like they're at least worth. Like I'm
Right.
we're not gonna get like announced today that Dahlin signed 8 years, $5 million per.
No,
Like
yeah.
that's like not getting paid what he's worth as a top defenseman. I do think, yeah, I think he could potentially maybe get a little bit of a discount. Like I like for me, it's kind of like Tage got 7.125 or whatever, and like you saw like Robert Thomas get 8 mil, and like I think Kyrou got somewhere. Like I think that like that kind of discount, like maybe it's like $1 million less than we might think. Like Dahlin, I think has a real chance to get 11 mil. Now, do I think he's probably gonna like that's probably what's the highest? Do I think his final number is probably like 10? Sure, I think that's
Yeah.
where you see like you get like Power. I don't know. Power's an interesting case from the fact of like I think if I was the Sabres, I would be after Dahlin, I'd be pounding the table to get him extended for 8 years. But like I think that's where you come from, like the culture or like getting paid perspective. Like, why would Power want to sign a contract extension after this season? Because he's probably gonna get 30 to 35 points, but it was his rookie season. So next year he could be like that 50, 60 point defenseman and get paid probably a lot more. Now, Grant, I think it's hard for a 20-year-old to say no to an 8x8 contract. So I guess maybe that's what their play would be. I feel like so like Power would be an interesting case for that example. Like Dahlin, I think is going to take a little bit less. I saw it with the letter to Buffalo. I wouldn't be surprised if he took a little less than we expected. Power, I don't know. And then Quinn and Peterka, I think you alluded to a little bit. I just think like I know we've talked about like, oh man, they've been really good, like not bridging people. We're gonna see with them because I think right now, I mean they have 2 years left, so it's kind of hard to like. I mean Cousins they took the whole 3 years, so I would assume we don't get like talks about their contract extensions for it until 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Dom on that. I don't think we're gonna see anyone take like $2 million for, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna have to be paid, but are they willing to sacrifice a little bit to be in this city, in this environment? Absolutely, I believe. And these younger guys, I think you gotta pay, alluding to what Dom said, because if you don't, another team's gonna come and swoop. You know what I mean? Especially guys like Power who have been playing very well. You know,
At least our general manager isn't like that's too long and too much money for a player he just signed at Lou Lamoriello. Past your prime, dude.
Yeah, that was a tough.
It's not the early 2000s Devils anymore.
No, yeah. I think you're gonna see bits of it, but I also think you're gonna see people get paid what they're worth. But I think honestly, it's not really the big guns. Like I think Power's gonna get his, Dahlin's gonna get his. I think Quinn Peterka's gonna get his. It's gonna and Tuck's probably gonna get a huge raise. I mean, he's making like $4.7 million till 26. I think it's gonna be like Jeff's a bad example because Jeff would probably be like 34, 35 when he's done. I mean, obviously he's gonna take a huge pay cut. He's like making $9 million if he wants to stay at that age. But like,
right?
Even though I'm not the biggest fan, like Olsen right now is making 4.75, and I don't know what his qualifying offer is. It could be maybe a little bit higher, like 5. Like the Sabres are not going to pay. I mean, listen, they shouldn't pay him, so I shouldn't say they're not. But 5x5 just should not be in the cards for the Sabres for him. And if he wants that, like that's where you get the culture thing of like, if you want to stay on the team, like we can't pay you $5 million. We can't pay a deficient third line winger $5 million. Like that's where
Yeah.
like if you want to get paid, we can move you elsewhere. But if you want to be part of the culture and stay on the team, you're gonna have to take 4.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely.
Like,
I think you see it more with the mid roster.
Or like Joe just made the joke with Casey. Like,
Oh, please.
If they want to give, I think I said at the beginning of the year he should be on the bench, and I still agree that we should trade him. But
he's kind of been producing.
Okay,
well,
congratulations on getting 3 secondary assists in a game.
Listen, I'm one of the biggest Middlestat haters out there, but credit where credit's due. He hasn't been
he's
god
playing,
awful.
No, he's playing good. He's playing well for his role, but like I still think,
he's trade worthy for sure.
I think so because I'd rather have like a Yuri Kulich, Noah Ostlund, you have Savoy, Rosen, like
who are all looking pretty good, by the way.
What's that?
I think there's a way to improve like the person that played. Like you could better Casey Middlestat's role with someone else.
No,
like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, you could like as you said, it's like you could put someone from ELC and probably get very similar production, and all of a sudden you have like $2 million.
Did you see that Oilers? There's a high probability they put Jesse Puljujarvi at waivers. If you're the Sabres, are you claiming him?
Well, the Sabres were reported that they would take him, but they attached an asset.
Mm-hmm.
So they would.
Oh, forgot. Tyson Jost needs a contract extension too, and I would bring him back.
Oh yeah,
but
not 8 years, but like
I'd give
him like 2 to 3.
This is going to be like $3 million tops, 2.5.
But no. Back to my other point. Like, would you claim Puljujarvi?
If I was moving out Middlestat or Olsen, yes.
Okay.
Like I would have. I wouldn't do it. Like I like Puljujarvi, and like I don't think he's a great offensive player. He struggles finishing and stuff, but like he's a good forechecker, and he's like a really good defensive forward. So I think he's kind of a little bit he's like a higher ceiling Gergensons to me. Like Gergensons have a really terrific season. Like credit to him defensively. I feel like Puljujarvi is that, but maybe gives you a little bit more juice offensively. So I would claim him. I mean, he makes a little bit of bank, but like the Sabres are in a position where I don't think that truly matters.
They could eat some salary.
Yeah, they could eat some salary. And also, like, I feel like, we talked about, like, I think I literally just said, like, improving Middlestat's role. Like, I think putting Puljujarvi in the third line instead of Middlestat, like, having a more defensive forechecker, like, that's
not a bad idea.
That's a better move. Now, but, like, as much as I don't like Middlestat and Olsen, like I wouldn't just claim Puljujarvi and keep those two. Like I think there has to be a move prior to claiming him, because then at that point you have a logjam, and then we all know like one of Paterka. I actually don't think one of Paterka wouldn't be out, but like Krebs would probably be out, or like they'd start scratching someone that shouldn't be scratched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's just. We have so much money to spend on people, like the cap, and as we've alluded to, it's only going to expand and whatnot. So it shall be.
That money can go quickly.
Yes, it can. Unfortunately. I mean, I think we just got to use it on our core guys, though. And if we see, hopefully I didn't speak into existence Middlestat getting an extension or anything like that. But
no Ricky DiPietro contracts, no Ilya Kovalchuk contracts, no Zach Parise, Ryan Suter contracts,
Billy Leno contracts,
no Billy Leno contract, no Christian Ehrhoff contracts. Like,
what do you guys think of the Tarasenko trade? I know that's Rangers, but
Sammy Blais going back to St. Louis.
Yeah. They tried to one up the NBA trade deadline yesterday.
Yeah, that's really one upping it. Yeah, okay. Like, I'm sorry, but like. Vladimir Tarasenko is not on the same level as like KD, so
no, that's a good deal for New York. He's a playoff performer. It's a pretty good deal for St. Louis to get a first round pick from a guy that's declining. So
yeah, it's probably more of a rental piece too for them to try and make a push to the Stanley Cup, but because I don't know if the Rangers even have the cap space to sign him, because they got to figure something out with Lafreniere and Kakko, and they have. How much they have over $20 million tied up with Panarin and Fox, and then Shesterkin's deal, Zibanejad, like Kreider's deal. Like, that's a team that's like you saw. They had a lot of young pieces, and they kind of went out to spend, bringing in like Panarin, and then giving Fox that $9.5 million deal. So like you can see how you can become cap strapped really quick.
Yeah, like I mean, Panarin's not the player he once was. He's making over $11 million.
All he does is get assists now. He doesn't
But
score.
look at Tage. Tage is making $4 million less than him. Like that's where like the
Yeah.
Sabres. You just look at their long-term future with the cap. Like that's how built they're just built different. Like
Yeah.
you should not have a dude that could get 110 points for $7 million.
Yeah, no, that's it's like a NHL franchise mode.
I'm not saying like listen, the Cousins contract's a good contract. It's not Tage. Obviously, it's not Tage's contract. Cousins' contract's a pretty standard second line. I honestly, I think he's making a little less than second line center money because I think he sure got like 7.5 or something like that, somewhere around there. So I feel like 7.5, 8 is more second line center money. You saw if Robert Thomas getting 8, so they actually got a little bit of a discount too on that too. So
yeah.
Just rotating off that real quick because this is pretty long pod, so
it is.
Might want to go a little faster. But Tage back.
Yep, full participant.
That was a good sign. Hopefully, him, Cousins, and Samuelson get the 10 days off, and are all cool. And then Darlene took Tage's spot because Tage is obviously a little bit banged up. But I mean, you saw him throw that football in the Bahamas beach, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Was the runner up in the hardest shot? I know we were complaining about that. Thought that was Tage's event. They just were being lazy. Solid effort, 102.
Yeah.
Also got to wonder when's the next skills competition with Sabres. I haven't had that in a little bit.
No, that'd be nice.
I think I haven't had that since 19. I think that's the pandemic. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like it'd be competitive.
And then I can't remember who picked the Atlantic, but congratulations, you were correct. I picked the Central. Wow. They were runners up.
Did I pick the Metro? Yeah, they were all in the first round.
So. I think the only people we didn't pick was the Pacific, which was the blatant.
Oh yeah, and then I was like, watch the Pacific win, and yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no. I picked the Atlantic. Yep.
Darlene had a that's what I'm talking about the NHL though. The NHL though, even like their All-Star game, like people don't care, and it's kind of like
I think they care more about the skills competition.
That's why I feel like MLB, man, like
MLB's king.
We're not all be the biggest baseball fans, but like the home run derby slaps, and like you can't like simulate like 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming at you. Like you can't be like, hey, we're gonna throw 70 miles an hour. Like no, dude, like this dude's throwing gas and they're trying to hit nukes.
The NBA also has an okay All-Star thing as well. I mean, they play the real game.
Yeah, they actually do play. They do a lot of like cool dunks and like setup plays. Like you can tell it's not like full effort, but like it's still very, very entertaining to watch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Baseball's king though, for sure. I agree. MLB's king.
But right. Yeah.
Prediction time. I don't know one has anything else to add, right? I'm not rushing. No. All right. So we got the Flames coming to town tomorrow at 12:30. Wow, that's a matinee game. Then they take their Western California road trip to LA on Monday, Anaheim on Wednesday, and Sharks on Saturday. So I'm gonna say obviously we're not gonna do the Sharks one. So I'm gonna say we have 3 games. Joe, what's the record?
Flames, Kings, and Ducks.
3-0 coming out of the All-Star break. They go crazy. I'm going with it.
I'll say 1 and 2. I think they're gonna slump a little bit.
I was gonna go 1-1-1, but I'm gonna go 2-1 because I think they're gonna win at home and they're gonna beat the Ducks and they're gonna lose to the Kings. That's my I mean, if they lose to the Ducks, like this is like a bad
they're
loss.
openly tanking, but
yeah.
They're Gary Bettman. There's no tanking in the NHL.
Okay.
That wasn't okay. The biggest ludicrous comment that made by a commissioner like over the weekend was Roger Goodell. Over the week was like Roger Goodell being like, officiating has never been better.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's so bogus. It's not even funny.
All right, Joe, who you got this week?
I got Tuck in goals, and then Darlene in points.
Michael,
give me Tage in goals and Cousins in points.
Oh,
he's gonna rep that new contract.
I will go. I will go Skinner and Darlene. Jeff's gonna remind the squad that he has the highest cap hit now. He's still got it.
Yep.
Another big contract down the drain.
Yeah, his contract's looking better. Just saying, like it's still not great, but it's looking better.
He's unkrugered, and it's looking more valuable.
Unkrugered,
the good thing with that. I mean, I know we want to get into the would you rather, but I also make the point of his contract has 4 years left at $9 million, and like I think Tuck's contract goes up until the last year of that. So really, like by the time the Sabres probably need to get rid of his contract, he'll have 1 year left. So
Yeah,
really not in a bad spot with his contract.
No.
Like they kind of need his contract again to get to the cap floor, especially if it posts his contract coming off the book.
No, not at all. And
well, used to, I should say. Now with the contracts they've doled out, they don't. But.
Yeah. So with that, that's the end of our Sabres talk for the day. And Mike's going to take us through some Would You Rather and trivia on the day.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with Would You Rather, of course. It's a little bit different one, I think.
Okay.
I think it's a real head scratcher.
Oh, God.
So we have the 4 major sports: hockey, football, baseball, and basketball. Would you rather kick a game-winning field goal, score an overtime game winner in hockey, hit a walk-off home run, baseball, or hit a game-winning 3-point buzzer beater?
Oh, here's Mike. I have an answer right away. Have you ever seen the movie The Natural?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing. Right there. Walk off.
The lights are flashing and everything.
The lights are exploding. I'm hitting a walk-off homer for the.
Is there any like? Is it?
Fun fact, that was filmed in Buffalo.
It was.
That was a good shout out.
Yeah,
a
couple guys from the Bisons that got filmed in it. What was I going to say? Is it like? Do we have a situation, or is it just like regular season game?
We'll say playoffs for all 4.
I said World Series.
Yeah. Now you just made it so much harder. Are we just?
And it's like Game 7, like sending your team to the next round. Or
so is this Super Bowl or is this just divisional round field goal? It's not championship winning. How about that?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just moving on to the next round.
All right. Oh my God! I just made it so much harder. I should have just said it was very
running those bases with everyone cheering. That's me. That's what I would want right there.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it'd have to go probably baseball because hitting a walk-off bomb would be it's just so amp.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be hockey because like the roar of the crowd when you score would be pretty. And then probably the 3-pointer, just because I don't really follow basketball that much, but I think that would be pretty cool. And then I don't know. I just feel I feel like field goal in any situation other than potential Super Bowl is definitely 4 out of 4.
If I was throwing a Hail Mary from the 20-yard line and it scored a touchdown, that might change. You know what I mean? That might change.
If I threw if it was like a game-winning touchdown pass with no time remaining, yeah, it was like hell. I don't know. I'm not like aesthetically pleased with kicking a game-winning field goal.
Baseball's king again. MLB's king. We got.
Oh God, I know. Yeah, maybe we should have more baseball in the podcast.
Maybe. Yeah. No, we will when the Blue Jays start up.
How do you order it, Michael?
I think I'm gonna go. I think I agree with the home run. That's pretty sick. Then I think I'd go with the 3-pointer and then hockey and football.
Wow, I can't believe you went basketball. I'm kind of shocked by that.
I know, like I'm not a big basketball fan, but like that'd just be kind of cool. Like think about like I don't know if Kawhi's was that a 3 when it was Toronto?
I think it was like a really long 2, but
either way, like that where it's like you shoot it up and then it's like rolling on the rim and then you see the whole crowd like stand up and like about to cheer. Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah. All right, now I gotta find examples of all 4 and we got to compare. So
The Natural, Space Jam.
No, I'm not talking.
Jam.
I'm not talking. Get out of here with that. So like I guess basketball. Yeah, the Kawhi one's a good one. You know what? Well, it wasn't Game 7, but like Dame's game winner. I guess that was a 3. They were losing too, so that was kind of sick. Home run, like I hate to say it, Joe, sorry, but Altuve's dinger against the Yanks, that was a series winner. That was kind of a similar situation. I guess Yzerman's goal. I know that was the throwback in Game 7 overtime. I'm honestly, I guess. Oh, who scored for that Rangers?
Like Martinez. But
that was Game 5.
I hate that example, but that was a championship.
Was it Panarin that scored with the Rangers Game 7 last year against the Penguins?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Like that would be a big example, and then I guess
football. Like I don't know.
There's 5 examples from the NFL, but that's what I'm saying. The NFL one really isn't all that random. Like I feel like that kind of happens all the time.
But yeah, okay. I think that was a good one, a little bit different. Rather than 2 options, there's like a would you rather.
The 4 options. Honestly, like the basketball one's probably I don't know. I feel like the basketball one's like if we were doing like the rarest ones, it's probably basketball, baseball,
hockey, and football.
Yeah. Maybe it's football, hockey. I feel like Game 7 winners. I don't know. Not in overtime though.
Yeah. Okay, here we'll get into trivia. I think we're gonna start with the hardest question first.
Jeez, all right.
With the Bills question. God.
I did
So
pretty well last week, so here we go.
who who are the 4 players in Bills history with 100% completion on touchdown passes?
Like one throw touchdowns.
Yep,
Marshawn Lynch.
that's one.
John
Okay.
Brown.
Yes, that's one.
Oh, okay. Andre Roberts.
No.
Cole Beasley.
No, he's 1 for 2.
Dang, Andre Roberts. Was it Andre Roberts the one that threw the touchdown to Singletary in the Dallas game? Are you wrong on that? I think it
No,
is.
but he probably has more than one attempt.
That is tough. So
They're
we got
1 for
Marshawn
1.
Lynch.
We got Marshawn
Marshawn
Lynch,
Lynch is 1. John Brown is 1. I'll get one of them still plays for the Bills.
Devin Singletary.
No.
No,
Wide receiver.
Is it?
Isaiah McKenzie.
It is Isaiah McKenzie.
Isaiah McKenzie.
When did he throw a
There's
touchdown
no.
pass?
I'm just gonna say it. There's no way you get the
When
fourth
did he throw
one.
a touchdown pass?
There's no way you get what? I don't know, but yeah, he's 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he threw it against the Cardinals. That's
Yep.
the one.
Yeah.
I should remember Josh Allen's second touchdown. That was.
I'm just gonna say this. There's no way you get the fourth one because he played in 1969.
Oh no way.
I'm gonna say Cookie Gilchrist.
You'd be wrong because it's the legend Preston Riddlehuber.
Preston Riddlehuber. Love it.
Dude
Love it.
was a running back. Played in 9 games.
That's a trivia question of like which
Dude
one
had
of
a
these is an
45-yard
actual NFL
touchdown
player?
pass. Just saying.
Which one of these is
45
an actual NFL player?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Tristan Riddlehuber. Oh my god.
Tristan Riddle. No.
I'm gonna get.
Preston.
Preston. I'm gonna get a jersey, a Riddlehuber jersey now. I'm gonna scour the
Honestly,
internet
let's
for
see
one.
this guy. Preston Riddlehuber.
Watch him be like a legend. Watch him play
Dude,
like one
He
season.
played in his career. He played in 22 games and had 1 carry for 12 yards. No, he had
Dude.
12 carries for 55 yards.
Dude, core special teamer seemed like what a guy. Seemed like he would fit well with.
But he had a
Bill right now.
45-yard touchdown pass. So
I'm just saying,
Dude.
dude. He fit like Taiwan Jones, man. Gunner probably was like
Preston
one of those guys.
So,
Oh man.
Sabres question. It's kind of probably easy, but with the trade deadline coming up, what was the last trade the Sabres made?
Like recently?
Last trade
Like
they made.
trade.
Trade. Yes, trade.
God, I'm gonna blank on this actually.
Oh,
No, they
This is
picked
really
Jost on
bad.
waivers. That was
it
not
wasn't.
a trade.
It wasn't very flashy, but it was a trade.
Oh, they traded Laskin in, didn't they, to like Dallas
Mhm.
or some team?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yep.
Yep.
When's
Just
the last
remember-
NHL? What's the last? I can't remember the last NHL trade they made. I might just be completely blanking on that.
And then the final question, Super Bowl question: who is the last non-offensive Super Bowl MVP?
Mm.
All right, Joe, we're working together on this. Malcolm
Think-
Smith was in 2013.
What about Butler for that interception?
No. Okay, so 14 was Brady. 15 was Von Miller. So actually, we're closer now. 15 is Von Miller.
Yep.
16 is Brady again. 17 was Foles.
Foles.
18 was Edelman. 19 was Mahomes. 20 was Brady. 21
21.
last year was Cooper Cup. So it's Von Miller in 20.
Von Miller.
It is Von Miller.
I was about to say Malcolm Smith. Good thing I.
Oh man. What a
last two Super Bowls Denver's been in. The defensive player is one. So
They have. I mean, can't argue with it, but
Didn't lag out.
nope. Mike survived, and this is our
Woo!
last official pod of the 2022-23 NFL season. I know we have the Super Bowl pregame, but that's like a special. It's not really an episode. So thanks for riding with us through the betting on the Bills.
Broncos country.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Russell
let's hide.
Wilson. Good job with your charity, man.
Yeah,
Great job being
Yeah.
scummy with that.
we're talking. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about
That was like
what
the
would
Andy
happen.
Dalton charity.
Oh,
That's our Walter Payton Man of the Year.
yeah, exactly.
Russell
I
Wilson.
can't believe that.
Good job,
But-
buddy. Fraud.
But without further ado, that's going to end it for this edition of the Buffalonian podcast. I'm Joe Callie, and I was joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. And farewell for the 2022-23 NFL season, and we'll finish out the NHL with you guys. But Dom, Mike, how do you always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go
Bills.
Sabres.